Hey, um, it's been a few weeks, I guess, since the last video I made, um, early August, I suppose. And a few things have happened here. I think first and foremost, we'll be in North Dakota for a little while longer, but who knows? um, we play it fairly short, I guess. There's just no way to know. Um, Things are still broiling away, I guess, in the job front area, which is kind of sad. But anyway, um, it made us more appreciate that we're going to be here, and that made us have a more of a permanent view, which we might regret. We kind of didn't really fully move into the apartment when we first got here, thinking that we'd only be here, 6 months or so. Now that we've been here um, over a year, and we could be here another year and more. Who knows? We just decided to move pretty much everything else into the apartment, and so that's at least good. At least gives me a good sense of more of a longevity, I guess. And one of the benefits of that is that we rearranged the apartment such that I now have a full-fledged hobby room again, which is some of the fruits that you can see here. I put up the uh, uh, wall scroll, I guess, of Marius Calgar. Um, and there'll be a lot more work to do here. Obviously, I need to get books on these bookshelves back here and such. Again, that's all being brought in from the garage. It's a lot of work because we're on a third-story apartment. Um, but it'll be finished probably in a couple weeks or so. I'll be working like a dog to get all that finished. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited to have a hobby room again. We have space for a table. I think I've corralled Mrs. Hooves into playing at least like a weekly game of Shadespire or Underworlds. Um, and I would love to start playing Age of Sigmar again. There's always some chance that there's some sort of local community around here. The gaming store here that I knew about, at least, closed down in February. So, but I think there is something else. There is like some little store here still. I saw comments of it, and doesn't have a website or anything, so I'd have to actually go down and check it out. But there's got to be some other Warhammer players here, some of some variety. But even if I don't get in contact with anyone else, I hope to certainly play a few games with Mrs. Hooves. So I'm excited. Like just getting all my stuff in one room. This is like a full hobby room. There's nothing else in this room to distract me other than hobby, and I really hope to get some work done. So far, I haven't got any models finished this year whatsoever. Didn't get a lot finished last year. Did get a Corn Army finished, I guess, for Holy Havoc, but apart from that, there are a couple projects in like January of last year that I finished, but it's been pretty sparse. The last couple years of this hobby have meshed well with my unemployment woes. um, anyway, so now that I have a new hobby room, I've decided to do a project, which is the name of this video, which is 1 week, 1 project. And it's going to be using my hobby generator again. I love the concept of rolling for armies, both when I actually play the game, even just something different every time, or working on projects. Honestly, the rolling on that chart is half the fun for me. And I initially had, so this is the chart system I have where it lists every faction that has ever received a unique model from Games Workshop. So it includes like every single faction in 40k and Age of Sigmar, as well as a lot of other armies that are no longer, being supported. Bretonnians and Doom Kings and things like Dogs of War and Kislev. Also like old Imperial Guard armies and all sorts of stuff. It contains every faction ever really fully established by Games Workshop with a unique model. Okay, and I'm in a rather unique position collection-wise to own. I think there's only 5 factions that I don't own some sort of model for, total across all the games, including specialist games. Well, I don't have every specialist. I don't have all the Blood Bowl teams and stuff like that, but I do own Blood Bowl teams. And so I really want to use all these and play with these, and it's almost an impossible task. And basically, I initially had the system set up where I'd roll d6s. It's a little clumsy because you might have a list of 20, and then you're rolling 3 or 4 d6s to determine which of those you're getting. And so I switched it up. I kind of reorganized a few. I added some other factions, new factions that have come out in the past year or two. And I've switched it to like a D10, D20 system. I think it's a little bit smoother. But the biggest thing here, and one of the reasons why I want to do this project, is that, so I started working on Free Guild, or Free Peoples, and I had also work on the Cadian Imperial Guard army for 40k. Really wanted to do 2 projects simultaneously. It just so happened that I rolled for 2 armies that are so similar to one another, and they both require, an enormous amount of just painting the same models over and over, really. Whether or not you're painting Cadian Guardsmen, I have like 100 of them, right? And Free Peoples, I have a bunch of those. And the motivation was to finish that project so that I can move on to the next. And the idea in my mind was that I would paint all the models for one army. And that's just not really that realistic. I ran my current idea by Mrs. Hooves, and I think she gave me her stamp of approval. And that was her comment that, sometimes you have ideas that are just too ambitious in some sense. Like I have painted entire models or entire armies within a few weeks, and so I was thinking, well, okay, I can just sit down and just do it. And it just wasn't really happening. It just lost all motivation to do it. I want to move on to the next project, but I've already kind of committed to doing these. And it just became like, I don't really want to paint guardsmen, or I don't really want to paint spearmen. And the biggest thing for me is, again, I was really hoping to switch projects every couple months. My original plan was to do 1 project per month, roughly. And I would just hardcore kind of go at it and try to finish all of it in a month. And again, completely unrealistic. I have, like, if I ever rolled for Tyranids, I mean, that would be like a 3-year project, or Eldar or something like this. Like I have armies that I've never even played with that are like hundreds and hundreds of models. So like, there's just no way I'm going to be able to like sit down and paint 50 or 60 models in a week. To get to a point where I can switch effectively and still enjoy what I'm doing. So this is just a different concept, and again, it's fairly self-explanatory. 1 week, 1 project. And so every week, the plan is to roll on my hobby random generator and pick something different. Now, I'll plan, again, like a week or 2 in advance, so such that if I need to buy models or paints or something like that, I can do that. But that's the concept. And I'm going to be painting roughly, a smaller, more manageable size. 1 character, 1 vehicle, 5 to 10 infantry, something like that. And I think that's fairly doable. And so to inaugurate this type of project, I will be finishing 10 spearmen for the Free Peoples or Free Guild. Okay? And some of these projects, obviously, because I have these huge hordes of infantry, you might just see a repeat project at some point. And it's just another 10 spearmen, which is fine. And I will also, and the planned transition to the army that I had all along was to then go to Nurgle Rotbringers once Free Peoples were finished, and I will then do 5 Blight Kings. Is essentially what I'm going to be planning on doing. Something manageable. That's a fairly easy type of ambition to complete within a week. Like, I don't think that's much of a struggle. If I'm painting 25 Blight Kings, that would be more of a struggle. The other army that was scheduled to transition to was Khorne Demons. I have plenty of unpainted Khorne Demons still, but because I worked on Khorne Demons for Holy Havoc last year, I'm less motivated to keep to that. So I think I'll bypass that, and then once Blight Kings, or once I'm rather working on Blight Kings, I'm going to switch and roll for a third unknown faction. It could be anything, literally. And so I'm really looking forward to this. And I hope it generates about a video a week. Again, 1 week, one project. That's the concept. And I'll maybe combine a couple different elements into this. I might kind of roll on the chart, talk about what I have or what I want to work on, and then do a paint showcase. And again, some of these might be fairly generic. Just 5 Ungors or something might not be the most interesting video to come out. But I do think it has some interest insofar as, completely different projects every single week across all the spectrum of all the armies in the Warhammer universes. I think could be kind of fun. And, I do have other specialized games or specialist games in my rotation as well in my hobby generator. So, it just won't be Age of Sigmar and 40k. It could be like Hero Quest models or something like that. So that's the concept. Hopefully you'll see some more videos of me definitely coming up. I really do want to stick to this, and I think over time, I think it will work. I've really been trying to stress. I've been keeping track of the amount of models I purchase and the models I paint, and right now it's vastly more in the purchase pile than the paint pile. But I do think if I work on a project every single week that I would outpace my spending. Because I don't always buy models. Sometimes I buy books and things. And so I do think it will work. I also plan on doing more discussion videos, probably at least once a week. So the plan is to do roughly 2 videos a week. One is the hobby one is something else. So I hope by end of next weekend or so, you'll see the video with the 10 Empire free people or free guild spearmen. So many different names in the game now. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.